and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jose Shorty Torres, the Titan FC Flyweight Interim Champion. And
hey, everyone, it's the champ, Pure Relive.
Hey, this is Rafian Stat.
It's Bellator's Blair Tugman.
This is Bilal Muhammad.
Hey, guys, this is Ted Check.
This is Ron, this is Quiet Boy Stalin.
Hey, guys, it's Brennan Allen.
This is Joseph Correa, founder of Frontproof Media.
Hey, this is Ed Carbajal.
Daniel Zaldivar from Frontproof Media and Frontproof Media.
Frontproofmedia.com.
You're listening to
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil and
Pure Evil.
Pure Evil
MMA.
MMA. You're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
You're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. So happy to be back in the studio. It's been a crazy couple of weeks here for me at Pure Evil MMA. Of course, if this is your first time tuning into Pure Evil MMA, I'm your host, like always, Evil Eddie from MMA UK, and I'm happy to announce I'm now one of the leading faces of MMA World, so make sure you guys go subscribe on the Facebook page. Me and Kerry Seller are going to be going live every week with the recaps. This week we just broke 10,000 live viewers, so a lot of exciting things going on there. Make sure you guys are also following us on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA and Evil_Echo. That's EV_ECCO. Now we got so much to talk about today. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been on here to talk with you guys, so I really appreciate you guys tuning in, whether you're on your way to work, whether you're outside doing the yard, tanning. If you're lucky, you're outside tanning right now. I know it's been 91 degrees here today. It's been quite the brutal day. We got Oscar laying next to me here. But guys, so much has happened since the last time we talked. I actually had the pleasure of going to see the McGregor-Mayweather presser. Now, you might laugh when I say this. It was the New York City presser, and before you guys laugh, because I know it did have some mixed reviews out there, it was exactly what I wanted it to be for a live show. And I can let me say this. I understand the hate for the people that were tuning in, the live streamers. You had Dougie Fresh coming out. He didn't even perform. There was just music playing in the background, and he sounded like the Yin Yang Twins. Like, yeah, over here, yeah. It was awful. The crowd was booing. We were already getting irritable. You know, the show was already late by almost an hour and a half. You have Dougie Fresh out there who isn't even performing. He's not singing. The crowd is just booing the shit out of him. I don't know why they had him out there for so long. Then you had Swiss Beats come out. He said this whole little speech, it was whatever. We were getting tired. So I do understand the hate with that. But when McGregor made his walkout, everything that I wanted to see for a live event, it felt like I was at a concert or something. If the environment there, the energy there, the people around me. I got to sit next to a guy from Ireland, so I had the Irish accent there, asking me all questions about Joe Duffy. Oh, Joe Duffy re-signed with the UFC. Did you hear about that? I was like, dude, you're talking to the right person. I cover the sport. And of course I know that Joe Duffy signed. I was like, dude, what is your opinion about Mayweather? What do you know about Mayweather? And here's the thing. When I showed up here, I thought there was going to be a lot more Mayweather fans out there. I really did. As soon as I pulled into the parking lot, the guy who was telling me where to park, first question was, you here from McGregor or Mayweather? I said, McGregor. He sent me all the way to the back of the parking lot. So I was going in here not knowing what to really expect until I got in the theater and all you heard was, ole, 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 ole. What a fun experience it was. Then McGregor coming out with that crazy polar bear overthrow coat, but it did seem a little scripted, and I do have to say that I am against that kind of entertainment. You know, I like the real talk, which is kind of why I wish they went towards the MMA style of a press conference where we get to ask questions and Conor gets to, you know, have his right off the top of his head. You know, this was really scripted out, you know, with Mayweather going form Voltron or whatever he was saying. it just seemed kind of fake and phony. But I do have to say, it was everything I wanted it to be for a live show. I didn't know what to expect. It was a press conference. The person I brought with me was like, is this the fight? Like, it feels like we're about to go see a fight right now. This is only going to be an hour, and we've been waiting an hour and a half.
I back it up.
Everything that I wanted to happen happened there. But when I was leaving, I saw so many people throwing backlash, saying that it was the worst press conference. It was the Spider-Man 3 of press conferences. And I do understand that the day before, they were in Toronto. They had Drake come out. It was just the perfect show. I got to respect the fact that they had to do this day after day after day, the material, whatnot. But Mayweather, man, come on. You got to come out with something different besides point at the easy work. That was just, that left a bad taste in my mouth. It was like, come up with something new. But then again, it got everybody talking. Everybody, from the bankers to the janitors to my little sister, everybody. My mother wants to have a Mayweather-McGregor party. Can you believe that? I'm still trying to get over it. My head's still spinning since she said that. Guys, we got a great show set up for you today. We have a lot to talk about between this upcoming week's fight with UFC Long Island. And we actually talked to Kyle Crash Bochniak, who's going to be on this fight card. So I'm excited to show you guys that interview. And also, Lion Fights is coming back to the East Coast here, back to Connecticut at Foxwoods Casino. So we've interviewed two fighters that are going to be going head-to-head. We got Chip Pollard going to be against the Reaper. So we got that coming at you. And also, guys, I'm going to be giving you some of my predictions for UFC Long Island and some of the latest news that's been circling the MMA world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Pure Evil MMA. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe here on iTunes, Podbean, wherever you're watching this. Maybe you're listening to it on YouTube. Subscribe below, guys. We're going to be doing this every week, and I'm announcing it right now. You are going to get a new podcast, and I'm sticking with this. New podcast released every Monday morning, right here on Apple iTunes. That is my promise to my listeners. You heard it here. So let's jump into UFC Glasgow. It was absolutely crazy. We had Gunnar Nelson going up against Ponzinibbio. Now, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you do know that I was against this right off the bat. With that fight with Alan Jouban, I thought they were going to have Gunnar Nelson go up a little higher in the rankings. Ponzinibbio, he's been on a fight win streak, but I just didn't think that they would match him up against, Gunnar Nelson. Well, after this weekend, I have been biting my tongue as Gunnar Nelson gets knocked out in the very first round, hit his chin up, and he just gets dropped by a right hand. You should have seen it on the outside. He was doing great in the first opening minutes, keeping that distance. He had that karate stance, but I was surprised that he got so close to trading with Ponzinibbio inside that pocket, and as soon as Ponzinibbio landed one, Gunnar Nelson knew he made a mistake. He tried to escape. It just didn't work out for him. And he got dropped and paid for that. I'm sure he's going to look back at this fight and he's going to make the changes that he needs to make. I think that he got a little too confident as he was landing some of those strikes early on in that first minute against Ponzi. This was a scary fight. Ponzinibbio is now in a couple fight win streak here, taking out somebody like Gunnar Nelson. Everyone was shocked. I was at least shocked. At least from what I saw with what everyone was tweeting me on Twitter, a lot of you guys out there were rooting for Gunnar Nelson. Why was he getting so close into that pocket? I just couldn't understand that. But my biggest takeaway from UFC Glasgow, besides the crowd was absolutely amazing there. And especially from hearing back from some of the people that were there telling me the experience that they had, the atmosphere that they picked up there. Some of the fighters were even saying it was one of the loudest crowds they've ever experienced. But my biggest fight of the night that I took out was, and I called it, I said, watch this. It's not going to go past the second round. It's going to be a quick fight. We had Paul Felder versus Stevie Ray. Now, Stevie Ray has never been finished before in a fight. I knew that this was going to be lights out for either one of these guys. Paul Felder had a rough week. Those of you guys who listen to the podcast all the time, we've had Paul on here before, and you know that his father was struggling with some cancer issues. It's a hard thing for You know, if you have somebody in your family that has cancer, has passed away from cancer, is being cancer, you know the emotional, the mental, the physical toll that it takes on you. Unfortunately, I've had to go through this in my life, losing my stepfather with brain cancer. To see Paul come away with that win this weekend, especially since his father recently passed away, was such a special moment. You know, it almost brought a tear to my eye. Paul Felder, congratulations, man. Elbows from hell. Then we had a very controversial fight. I can't go on without talking about this Jojo Calderwood versus Calvillo fight. Now, Calvillo won the judges' eyes, which is quite surprising, especially in Glasgow, over where, you know, Jojo, you know, it's her backyard pretty much. To have this girl come from Team Alpha Male over to Glasgow and to take the judges all 3 rounds, I didn't see it going that way. I thought Calderwood was doing great with the kicks, the teep. You know, that moment where they had the spinning elbows, that was beautiful. But the arm bars, the takedowns, the left hook, the footwork, the way that Calvillo was cutting corners, and she did a lot of damage. You know, she messed Jojo up in the first and especially the third, almost finished her at the end of both those rounds. So I do, looking back, I do understand that, but as I was scoring it, and I do recommend if you're scoring it, you know, don't look back at what the judges said. You know, keep what you were scoring with. So I do have to back myself up here by saying I thought Jojo won this fight. I thought that she did enough. She landed a lot of shots. Might not have been the most damaging shots. She didn't at one point have Calvillo in any type of real trouble, but she was consistent. And I thought she did this in every round. The judges did score this 30-27 for Calvillo. Congratulations. I mean, moving up, 2 names come to mind. I think they might match up with maybe a Tisha Torres, maybe even like a Jessica Andrade, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I mean, there's a lot of people that come to mind. Randa Marcos, Felice Herrig. I mean, these are all girls that are ranked higher. Maybe even, I probably don't see them matching her up against Paige, but there's a lot of girls in this division. I think Jojo was ranked at 8th. Even Carla Esparza. What about Carla Esparza? You know, I'm going to take back the Claudia Gadelha. Maybe that's jumping the gun a little bit too quick. But you never know. Look what they did to, you know, Cody Nolov. They jumped the gun pretty quick on him and made it to the top. Also, Team Alpha Male member. You know, what do you guys think? Let me know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. All right, so let's move forward. We got some interviews coming up your way here, guys. Like I said, UFC Long Island is coming up right here in the backyard at the East Coast, and there's a lot of exciting fights on this card. We got Kyle Bochniak, who's going to be fighting the undefeated Kennedy. So let's jump into the interview right now. I got him on the line for you guys. Check it out. All right, guys, I got a very exciting guest for us right now who's joining us on Skype. He has an upcoming fight against Jeremy Kennedy at UFC Long Island, representing the East Coast here. It's going to be a fun time. We got Kyle Crash Bochniak here joining us. What's going on, Kyle?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us, man. And we got this awesome event coming up for UFC Long Island. We've been checking out your Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere that you're on. And it seems like you're working really hard. First off, the first question that we got to ask you, man, is what can everybody expect when they tune in to watch you fight that night?
They can expect a just violent fighter. I'm hungry, trying to make a statement. I get the experience that I need in the octagon, and it's time to finish people. And I've never worked any harder for anything in my life right now. I'm eating strict. I'm eating hard. I'm going to bed early, waking up early, training hard. So I'm tackling it by all angles right now.
So the last 2 fights that you had were decisions. You had one fight against Charles Rosa and your other fight against Enrique Barzola. Was there anything about those 2 fighters that surprised you before you went into their fights?
No, they didn't surprise me, really. I knew they were all strong, very durable, active, good conditioning. They like to move around a lot, pick shots, kind of run away, pick shots, run away again. So I'm more of a come forward type of guy who likes to bite down and throw. So we'll see what Kennedy has in store. I'm not sure he wants to get hit. He's a pretty boy, so he might want to just grab me against the fence and suck me down and take me down there and hold me. But I'm very hard to get to the mat as well. I'm like a cat, so we'll see what happens.
So that fight that you had against Enrique, after that, what did you have to do to get this fight? I mean, I know that you were pushing to get back on there. They did give you this fight on UFC Long Island, but, you know, was there any other cards that caught your eye before UFC Long Island that you were trying to get your foot into?
I wanted to go to Brazil and fight Pepe. He's step-up competition. Yeah. I knew that would be a perfect matchup. He's got tons of fans. He's fought in the UFC. He's been in there for a while. Like UFC Brazil 1, I believe, the Ultimate Fighter. So that was a perfect opportunity for me. But, things happened. He got injured, broke his nose. I had an injury during camp, so it gave me opportunity to get that fixed. That was in March. And then, me and Kennedy have been chirping away on Twitter trying to get a matchup going. And boom, Shelby heard it. It happened. Now we're lined up to fight.
See, that's a huge thing that's going on in the business right now is a lot of fighters are going to their Twitters and they're understanding that you really got to connect with the fans, kind of spark something, I guess, so to say. Yeah, and you were just at the UFC Fighter Retreat. Is there anything that you learned there that, you can put in your book?
Yeah, man, definitely. That retreat was extremely knowledgeable. I met all the executives from the UFC, IMG, picked everybody's brains, got a bunch of contacts. That's why my social media has been blowing up. I know what to do, what to post. I've been all over it, been asking for help. Who should I direct my content to? When should I post? So, I'm a huge thing of it is social media now. Like, the more eyeballs I can grab of myself, the more people that tune into my life and what I do day to day and how I train, what I'm eating, when I'm going to sleep, what I do in my downtime. The more people that get involved, the more people are going to turn that television on to watch me scrap. So that's basically all what it's about.
So bring us through that fighter retreat, because that was such a big thing for us this year. There was a lot of fighters there, like Charles Rosa, like Owale Bamboje, Misha Tate, even people that weren't even in the UFC came, like Daniel Gallimore, who trains with Travis Brown, a bunch of guys. What was your experience like there? I mean, were you there for 3 days, or bring us through your adventure there?
Yeah, we were there for like 3 days. So basically, you're treated like kings. They pick you up. They bring you to this incredible hotel. Everything's athlete retreat. Food, everything. I mean, they had a concert with Snoop Dogg. It was incredible. Who was it? Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
He came in for a motivational speak, which is really cool. Michael Strahan, Army guy, which is really cool. Green Beret. So all these guys were sharing their stories and helping us to deal with stressful times in our lives and understand, you could be anything you want, work hard, whatever, and there's a life after fighting as well. But other than that, everything was just informative, like new deals, how to touch out to Reebok or whatever it was in your career that you wanted to do after, pursue a life after fighting. You need to start it now, make a brand for yourself, establish yourself, and just fight and put on a good show.
Well, we see a lot of fighters, they either, train at a gym or want to open up their own gym. There's Charles Rosa, who you fought before in the past, who has this cooking thing. What's your niche that you think you're going to end up doing in the next 10 years or 15 years when this is all said and done with?
I would like to give back. I was a troubled teen growing up. I would like to open up a gym, obviously, and help out youth or run a program. People can come in there, start young, and get their head in the right direction. Obviously, I need to make money, so I'll probably be doing some women's kickboxing and then teaching jiu-jitsu. I'll have my black belt at that time and just give back to the community and maybe go back to my hometown. I don't know. We'll stay in Melrose. I just moved to Melrose. We'll see. But I definitely want to own my own gym and just try to help people in their lives to better themselves.
So I live here in the city on the East Coast in New Haven, Connecticut by Yale University. And there's nowhere for kids to really go. So they end up getting stuck in the streets unless they're in the sports. And even the boxing gyms here, you have to go in the middle of a ghetto to really go there. And they're not even that nice. And as the years are going on, you're starting to see more MMA places open up and nice facilities. So this is a new day and age for this sport, and it's opening up a lot of doors for you guys, especially who have the names to go and do something. So
definitely.
Where are you from, and what was your high school years like? Because we have a lot of young guys that listen to this show.
Really? Yeah. Well, I'm from Gloucester, which is basically island living. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows where you're going to have for dinner that night. Everybody's gone out with everybody. Everybody's fought everybody. So it's just, it's crazy. But that's where I'm from. Small knit community. Once you could go over that bridge, everybody has your back no matter where you go. And that's kind of what's happening with the fight game right now. Like, everybody's supporting me, rooting for me, because there's a lot of, I want to say, but there's a lot of hardship in Gloucester, a lot of mess up. There's a lot of drugs, a lot of that bad influence, but there's also a lot of positive in Gloucester as well. So when a kid makes it and he goes over the bridge as we speak, because it's basically an island, you go over the bridge and you pursue what you want. People, they look up to you and they look forward to it and they want to root for you because it gives them inspiration to also be better. So basically, that's what it's about.
Like a Stipe Miocic who's stuck in the land there at Cleveland, which is an awful place, or you know, it's just it's awesome to see somebody from your hometown you get to root for. So that's definitely an exciting thing. Any of your homeboys back from the day hit you up now, seeing that you're in the UFC?
Of course, I'm always in contact with all my boys in Gloucester. You know, we got a couple of good fighters as well from there. Pedro Gonzalez is one; he's on a tear right now. We got a couple of good boxers, Carlo, who's over there. But everybody hits me up, and like Long Island, everybody's gonna go. It's only a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to pack the house, and I'm gonna be fighting a Canadian guy, so it's gonna get loud in there. I'm really excited.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. And what do you know about your opponent, Jeremy Kennedy? Other than he's on a 10-fight win streak right now. He's 10-0, and you're 7-1. So you guys are pretty much neck and neck right there, fighting for that next spot. What else do you know about Jeremy?
That's exactly right. Like, he's 2-0 in the UFC, 10-0 altogether. This would be both of our third fight in the UFC. This is definitely basically I wanted this matchup because it's going to set who the prospect is and who the UFC is going to bring up. So this is a huge opportunity for both of us. I was supposed to fight Pepe. He fought Ronnie Jason last time. Ronnie Jason and Pepe they were the finalists in the Ultimate Fighter. Mm-hmm. So our timeline is pretty similar. So it just only makes sense that this fight happens and to see who they're going to push forward and make that climb up the rankings. I could say Kennedy, he could potentially be worthy of a top 15 opponent right now, but you know, he wanted this fight with me, so I got the fight, he got the fight, and it's time to bang, and once I beat him, it's my turn to get up these rankings.
So once you get to that spot, if you get this win, when you get this win, we're seeing a lot of fighters understanding that once that mic is in your hands, you should have an idea of what you want to do next. I know that some fighters get mad, like, oh, I just won this fight, I want to relax, but when you're in front of the TV, that's when you're getting a lot of people viewing in, and they want something. They just saw you do an amazing performance. They want something to get behind to look forward to your next performance. Is there anything hitting around in your head? I know that it's a little early right now, but you know, do you have some ideas? You don't got to let them go, but do you have some ideas of where you see yourself going after this fight?
Yeah, I definitely, you know, I try my best. I'll call someone out, try to get a top 15. I'm not looking to just stay in the bottom. I want to fight. Like, I wanted the Pepe to fight. You know, that would have been perfect. And then I wanted to go up a couple of rankings. So I'll definitely have a name in mind to be calling someone out. I think once you beat someone and you have that mic, you should be calling if you're trying to get those rankings.
Well, the thing about you, your last couple of fights have always been on big name cards, not per se like pay-per-views, but the Damian Maia versus Carlos Condit, the Dillashaw versus Cruz. Those are big cards where a lot of people are going to be tuning in because they're familiar with a lot of these guys. And now we got UFC Long Island, your hometown. This is a big one for you, man. So is your mom, your girlfriend going to be there? do they like watching you fight or what?
Oh yeah, my wife, she's my biggest fan. She helps me with everything. She's basically my backbone, helped me with all this stuff. My mother, she's a huge fan. She's flying up from Sarasota to come watch me. My wife's Greek, so her whole entire Greek family is coming up. They try to rent a box suite. My whole gym, Gloucester. Like it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a good time.
So getting back into the UFC Fighter Retreat, were you able to catch out the Snoop Dogg concert?
Yeah, I was sitting on the amplifier. Basically, I was on like this. I was on the stage. I was vibrating and everything, bouncing up and down. It was lit. It was crazy. It was really cool. It was like a private concert. We had like, I don't know, maybe 200 to 300 of our fighters and UFC faculty or whatever, and Snoop Dogg was just performing for us, and it was really cool.
So I talked to a couple of the guys that have been on the show before that were there, and I was following their Snapchats or their Instagram stories, and you can tell like the first day that everybody got there, it was a little awkward with everybody. Like, oh, there's that guy. Oh, should I say hi? But as you got into the second day in the Snoop Dogg concert, everyone got real comfortable with each other. Who did you connect with there? And any new friend fighters that you connected with there?
I just chilled with the Boston guys. It was me, Charles Rosa, Rob Font, Joe Lozon, and Devin Powell. That was a little clique, and we just went around, did our thing. Obviously, we hung out with other people too, but basically that was it.
So at your gym, who else do you got training with over there? Is it a smaller gym, or do you got a couple of names there?
Yeah, it's a smaller gym. I'm the only guy in the UFC, but we got a couple of fighters, you know, local like CS MMA, James Martin. He fought on there before. But we got a
Yeah,
good.
Got the CES posters behind me.
Yeah, CES. That's where it's at, man. CES to the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a lot of good jiu-jitsu guys over there. John Clark, my head coach, who's brilliant. His mind is just made for this stuff. He sees the whole game at every angle, and he's ahead of the curve. Like, he's the most underrated coach in the game. And we got some great training partners as well, all basic, same body types as me. So it works very well when we drill, do technique. When we cross-train, City Otong, Lozon. So we got good training partners. It's good to be, like, you don't have to be around killers all the time. Like, right now I can focus on myself at the gym, and then we can go cross-train, bring people in. So it's very geared towards me right now, and it's the way I like it.
Well, yeah, you're seeing like with Claudia, who just fought last weekend, that she has all the focus on her with Ledette. What's her coach's name? Latrell. Over with Latrell, and then Jackson's and everything. It's always focused on her. Before we let you go, man, UFC 212 just passed. Max Holloway beat Josie Aldo. Did you see that going down the way it did?
No, I didn't. Well, I said if Holloway would have won, that's how it would have happened. But I thought Aldo was going to take it, to be honest with you, man. I thought he was going to find his rhythm, slip Holloway's punches, come in with his hook leg kick or whatever it is, and just mix it up and really beat that leg up. I didn't see any of that. He closed the distance pretty well in the first. He rocked him a little bit, but then he just went away from his game plan. And once Holloway started getting in his head and started getting loose, and he just two-pieced him.
Started taunting him,
you could see it was just. I was like, oh my god! And then he two-pieced him and he fell, and I felt bad for Aldo, but I just didn't think. I really thought Aldo would have taken that fight.
If there's one thing I really hate, and I love MMA fans, they're so passionate, but if there's one thing I hate. When you're at the top of the game and you've been the champion for 10 years and you lose to somebody like a young up-and-comer like Max Holloway, who's on an 11-fight win streak now, like, oh, Aldo should retire. What are you talking about? This is the elite of the elite of the elite fighting the elite of the elite of the elite. How could you say this guy's ready to retire? He's fighting some of the best talent in there. What do you think Jose Aldo's going to do next? What do you think Max Holloway's going to do next before we let you go?
Man, I don't know, but I think Frankie deserves a chance.
Yeah.
Maybe Frankie and Holloway, that'd be good. Nobody wants to see Frankie and Aldo, and then or Cub Swanson. We'll see. Maybe Swanson and Frankie, and then see who's that. But Frankie, I think, is next in line.
Yeah.
Although I don't think he should retire. Like you said, he's been in the game for a long, long, long time. So on his face after that, it did kind of look like he was second guessing himself. But I hope he comes back because he's one of my favorite fighters. I grew up watching Aldo. That's made me want to get into MMA. But Aldo should definitely give another shot. Holloway, I think, is going to be Frankie and Holloway. It's Frankie's time again.
Hell yeah. We're looking forward to it. Before we let you go, where are you right now? Are you in your home office? Where are you? And what do you got going on today?
Today's my day off, actually. That's
nice.
why I've been posting all those Instagram stories, hanging out with my dog and stuff. But I'm at my house right now. And just chilling, recovering. And then tomorrow's back at the grind. Start sparring next week and kicking it up.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Kyle. Where can everybody find you on social media?
You can find me at Kyle Bochniak UFC on Instagram. Please go on, follow me. I'm posting everything, what I eat, do, everything during the day, so you can follow me. And Twitter at Kyle Bochniak.
And what we like to do at this point in interviews, we hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any sponsors, of course, Reebok, any shout-outs, anything at all, the floor is all yours now, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank Reebok for supplying me with some good gear for the training camp. Boston's Best Coffee. It's where you can get your kick, get through your training sessions. My gym, Broadway Jiu-Jitsu, head coach John Clark, my wife, Brittany Bochniak, and that's about it. Hey, guys, it's Kyle Crash Bochniak, and you're listening to Pure Evil MMA.
So headlining UFC Long Island, we got Chris Weidman, who's on a 3-fight losing streak. If you told me a year ago, 2 years ago, that Chris Weidman, the champ, the guy who took Anderson Silva off the map, dethroned him as the champion, that Chris Weidman would be on a 3-fight losing streak, possibly facing 4. He's going to be fighting Kelvin Gastelum, who's just been on a tear lately. And he's only 25 years old. His last fight with Vitor Belfort, I was nervous for Kelvin in that fight, but he got past him. Even the Tim Kennedy fight at UFC 206, I was like, I don't know. Is Kelvin going to get past, Tim Kennedy? Even the Johnny Hendricks fight. The last time that Kelvin lost was against Neil Magny. He's beating people like Nate Marquardt. He has lost against Tyron Woodley. He's beat Jake Ellenberger. I mean, Kelvin Gastelum has just been improving, and now he's going to be fighting Chris Weidman. This is definitely the biggest fight of his career. This is one of Chris's moments where he really needs a win here, and Kelvin is so hungry. But Chris is going to be fighting in his own backyard. But here's the thing. With all the surgeries that Chris has been getting, maybe his body's not the same as it used to be. The fight with Gegard Mousasi, you could say it was just a mistake. Even the fight before that, Yoel Romero, it's just a simple mistake. Chris was doing great in the first and second round against Yoel Romero at UFC 205. It was that quick flying knee that landed for Yoel. And this all stretches back to that one fight, going back to 2015 against Luke Rockhold. That one spinning wheel kick that I'm sure Chris regrets. And then after that, I think it was like 87 unanswered shots that Luke Rockhold pounded on Chris Weidman. It was just, ever since that spinning wheel kick, there's just been something off with Chris Weidman. You haven't been able to put it together. And I'm not saying the competition hasn't been easy. I mean, Yoel Romero, Gegard Mousasi, who we're going to be talking about in a minute as we get into our MMA news segment. But, Chris Weidman really needs a win. Kelvin Gastelum is not going to just give it to him. But I am going to be leaning towards Chris Weidman to win this fight. He is going to be getting my pick to win this. Then we got Dennis Bermudez versus Darren Elkins. So a lot of people probably aren't familiar with Darren Elkins, but he's definitely got my vote for one of the best comebacks in MMA history. I mean, in his last fight against Mirsad Bektic, holy shit. I have no idea how Darren Elkins survived that first couple of rounds there, but he was able to get the finish. He just keeps coming at you. His conditioning is out of control. His wrestling's on point, but he just keeps pouring pressure on. He just does not stop. Dennis Bermudez coming off that last loss against the Korean Zombie. I mean, ever since he was on that season Ultimate Fighter, we always knew that Dennis Bermudez was going to have a great career in the UFC. But in that last fight against, the Korean Zombie, we were like, all right, this could go one of two ways. Dennis Bermudez is going to welcome the Korean Zombie back into this with a tough fight. It's going to go to decision. Or the Korean Zombie is going to shock us all and finish Dennis Bermudez. And what does he do? He finishes Dennis Bermudez with a stunning TKO win. Before that fight, Dennis Bermudez, I think he was on like on a 2-fight winning streak. Between his takedowns, his ground and pound, and Dennis Bermudez's cardio, he always brings it. This is going to be an exciting fight. Darren Elkins, he definitely wants to keep climbing that ladder. He was going to retire at one point. Let's see if he can get past Dennis Bermudez, but I just don't see it happening. I see Dennis taking this fight. I see it going to decision, and I see Dennis Bermudez winning at least 2 of the 3 rounds. Also, a fight that no one's talking about. Jimmy Rivera is going to be fighting Thomas Almeida. Thomas Almeida, ever since that Cody Nola fight, he's been trying to get back on the map. Always an exciting fight when you know that Thomas Almeida is going to be on the card. You know it's going to be a great fight. But Jimmy Rivera, a fighter that doesn't get much respect out there, that really deserves it. Kid's 28 years old. He's training out here on the East Coast at Tiger Schulman's. I mean, the kid's just an absolute beast. Pretty much retired Uriah Faber. Ever since he came into the UFC, Jimmy Rivera's just been killing it. Beating Marcus Brimage to welcome him into the UFC. He beat Alcantara when nobody wanted to fight Alcantara. He fought him and won. Then taking the fight with Uriah Faber. He came on my show to call out Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz wants nothing to do with Jimmy Rivera. He even was like, fuck it, I'll fight Rafael Sunsao. No one wants to call Rafael Sunsao. Look what happened to Marlon Morales calling out Rafael Sunsao. He did not come out the other side. Jimmy Rivera does not care. He wants the top contenders. And you know what? The UFC is matching him up with Thomas Almeida. If he gets past Thomas Almeida, you got to give him a top-ranked opponent. Dominic Cruz is saying that he's waiting for Cody Nolov. Fine. Wait for Cody Nolov. But Jimmy Rivera, once he gets past this, give him a Sun Sal. Once he gets past the Sun Sal, Dominic Cruz, Cody Nolev, TJ Dillashaw, he'll take him on. He does not care. He even told me that he was training at one point with these guys, with Cody Nolev, with Uriah Faber, with TJ Dillashaw, and he thought he was better than them. You guys can go back and check out the interview I did with Jimmy. If he can get past Thomas Almeida come this weekend, there's no way that they can turn him down. I'm sticking with Jimmy Rivera here. Thomas Almeida, you got to watch out for that liver punch. But I think Jimmy Rivera is going to come out the other side. He's going to have his arm raised. Let me know what you guys think on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. Alright, so getting into the recent MMA news, guys, there's been some rumors going around. Let's start it off with that. Max Holloway versus Frankie Edgar, in case anyone else thought it would be a different matchup. And also, Cody Nolev versus TJ Dillashaw might possibly, and when you hear these rumors, it means pretty much this is the plan. UFC 217, November 4th. I'm pumped for that. Let's hope that no one gets injured. You know, because there's always that looming in the background. But, you know, as we look further down for the next coming events, I'm pretty excited for what the next couple of months have to bring. Of course, it was just announced September 9th. Mighty Mouse is going to be going up against Ray Borg, since he's taken everyone else out in that division. Also, Nunes versus Shevchenko, the rematch, going down September 9th. It's going to be on a Saturday. That's going down UFC 215. How about that? You know, and there were some rumors that Dana White was going to shut down this division. I thought that was just absolutely ridiculous that he was even saying that, bringing that up. It's just, this guy has done so much. He's about to break a record. And then here's the president, oh, I'm just going to shut down the division. It doesn't really matter that much to me. Are you kidding me? You're going to shut down the division? Do you know how many up-and-comers are out there on Titan FC, like Jose Shorty Torres, who's absolutely killing it, training alongside some of your champions over at the UFC, like TJ Dillashaw, Joseph Bermudez? Come on. How could you even bring that up? Mighty Mouse is literally about to break his record. It's going to be going down September 9th, UFC 215. And also the co-main event, which is kind of weird. I thought, well, then again, Dana White also said Amanda Nunes would never get a main event, so maybe that's why. I mean, as I'm looking, and this is why I'm thinking of it this way, because on the left-hand side of the picture, you got Mighty Mouse, and on the right side of the picture, you got Amanda. So go figure. First and second. That's how we do it over here in America. So that's going to be going down UFC 215. Also just announced, I know this is going to rub some of you guys the wrong way. And to me, it really doesn't make that much sense. I was kind of confused when I saw this headline last night. Jermaine Durandamy versus Renault. Going down September 2nd. So they're really building up September's roster here. That's going to be a UFC fight night. Of course, it's going to be free. Tickets are going on sale today. That's out in Rotterdam. So for our fans out in Rotterdam, like General Yusuf, we got a lot of people that actually listen out in that area. Of course, you got Jermaine Durandamy from the Netherlands over in Amsterdam. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of our listeners over there. So make sure you tell me what you think about this. I mean, a lot of you guys are going to be there for this fight. Does this excite you? I mean, then again, it is your champion. And I had nothing wrong with what happened in that fight. Of course, there was a couple of late chops, but really, if you really look at that fight and break it down, I mean, the referee is supposed to get in between the two fighters. It's hard to hear, and I know these just sound like excuses. Some of you guys might be like, you interviewed her before her fight for the championship against Holly Holm. Aren't you a little biased? No, I'm not being biased. Of course, it leaves a salty taste in my mouth that's the way she won the belt, but let's face the facts. Holly Holm was looking better as that fight went on. It's not a late shot like the Claudia Gadelha versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight when they first matched up. That's a late shot. This was going down in the middle of her combinations as the round was closing out. Did she know that the round was closing out? Did she know there was 10 seconds? It doesn't matter. Sometimes you can't hear the clapper. The ref has to get in between. But then again, now everyone's calling her the cheater because to make it worse, she was running from Chris Cyborg, right? She did not want to fight her after she won the belt. She had Cyborg sitting right there. It was all set up. It was perfect. The UFC was waiting on that moment. Here we go. We're going to get our clip for the upcoming Cyborg fight. We're going to be able to build a fight around her. This is her division. Let's not forget. The 145-pound division was opened up for Chris Cyborg. Did Germaine Durandamy really not think that was going to be what was next? Did she not expect this when she got the title shot? Of course you can't turn it down. You can't turn down a title shot. If it was given to me, I would take it. But it just shows what of a figure Chris Cyborg is to the UFC, and they're not promoting that. Reebok's not promoting it. Reebok hasn't even made a kit for Chris Cyborg yet. But there's a lot of people that really aren't that into Germaine Durandamy. They're calling her the cheater. Germaine Durandamy calls Cyborg the cheater, and that's why she doesn't want to fight her. Well, she got her belt stripped. Wasn't even a year since that fight. Got her belt stripped, and now Cyborg is going to be facing, most likely, Tanya Evinger. But September 2nd, out in Rotterdam, Germaine Durandamy versus Marion Renault. It's going to be going down. And that's right, tickets going on sale today in Rotterdam at the HOV. So that's it for rumors. I mean, what else did I really hear this week that were, some rumors going on? Oh, DC might possibly retire after fighting John Bones in this upcoming fight. So as soon as this was announced, I was going through Reddit, and I remembered when DC actually brought this up, and me and Ted Check were talking about it last year, UFC 200. I think that's been exactly a year ago, because it was 2016's International Fight Week. Hours before the fight, John Bones Jones gets taken off the card of UFC 200. That was headlining the event. I didn't even believe it. We were in the middle of a live show, and Minion came out, and he was like, guys, John Bones Jones is off UFC 200. I'm not joking. And the night before, there was this big rumor going around on Twitter. I'm not going to throw the guy's name under the bus because I kind of like him, Aziz. But, he changed his profile picture to Ariel Helwani, and he made a breaking news tweet. And there's already thousands of people that follow this guy. So thousands of people are seeing this in their timeline. And it's International Fight Week. Twitter's blowing up right now. He sends out a tweet saying John Bones Jones is taking off UFC 200. And everyone started freaking out. Twitter was going nuts. People were tweeting Dana White. I was like, hold on. As a journalist, I have to look a little deeper into this before freaking out like everyone is on Twitter. I need to, double check that before I do anything. That's what I need to do. You double check that. Come to find out, I go to the profile. It's not as many followers as Ariel Helwani. It's not even Ariel Helwani. And he's done this before. So I really didn't believe it when they actually did announce this. But I remember in that time, DC brought up, he was thinking about retiring after that fight. I mean, what else really is there for DC after that fight? That's his gold chalice. That's his Winn-Dixie or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know if those make sense, but that's the goal. That is DC's career. He needs to get this win. He just came back being out Rumble once again, retiring him. He's defended the belt against Alexander Gustafsson. It wasn't even a close fight, honestly. I mean, I was rooting for Alexander Gustafsson that night against DC. There was a moment in that fight where DC just threw him up in the air, twirled him on his finger, and threw him to the mat. Threw him to the canvas. I mean, that was a good fight, but he did a lot better than John Bones did. That was, a matter of fact, the toughest fight for John Bones. Even the fight with DC won 1 of the 5 rounds last time John Bones and him fought. 1 of the 5 rounds. Now, you can say there's a lot that's changed since then. John Bones, he might have cage rust, this and that. I mean, come on, the Korean Zombie just got a beautiful knockout. He was away for 2 years, knocks out Dennis Bermudez in the first round. Wasn't even training. John Bones Jones recently had a fight with OSP. People are saying, oh, that fight sucked. He won every round. He won every single round. Of course, he wasn't trying to show off. He really needed that win. It was his return. A lot of credibility was riding on that. Is John Bones the star he used to be? It was riding on that, and he won every round. So now here we go. DC, this is really all he's got. This is, I mean, you could say this is the biggest fight of John Bones' career, but honestly, I want to see him fight Alexander Gustafsson again. And whoever wins this fight, make no mistake about it, I do not think it's going to be Manoa. I think it's going to be Alexander Gustafsson that's going next. He just came off a beautiful finish over Glover Teixeira. So make sure you guys go check those rumors out. I always like to go through Reddit, see what everybody's talking about. People are even talking about Cain Velasquez not actually being the GOAT of that division, which is hard to say. I mean, I remember watching him. He was one of the most feared men on the planet. He beat Travis Brown. He beat JDS in that rematch. I'll never forget that. He's defended the title. He's been plagued by injury lately. Look what he did in his last fight against Travis Brown at UFC 200. He threw a freaking wheel kick. A wheel kick. Maybe it'll match up Verdum and Cain next. That's my guess. But, you know, some of the things that people are talking about on Reddit, like, I guess you can make a case that the guys that he has beat aren't at the top anymore, even though they are in the top 10. But they're on a couple fight losing streaks. You know, the last time Cain had a really good fight was against Verdum. Well, he was destroying Verdum in that fight. And then he gets choked out. I mean, how could you make the case that he's not one of the best in that division? There's no mistake in my mind. But yeah, definitely go check out Reddit. This is where you can find a lot of the rumors. And of course, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter if you want to discuss some of this. If there's anything I'm bringing up on the show right now. I love tweeting with people that listen to the show about some of the topics that we're bringing up here. I want to hear what you guys think about it. That's what it's all about. You know, before we end this, I was just talking about Amanda Nunes. Of course, she's just got announced to fight in the rematch under Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, the co-main event. But, you know, Dana White was ragging on her. And I'm pretty sure he suffers from, like, pretty much the same thing. Like, he has a back problem or something. And he gets vertigo all the time. Amanda Nunes, she has chronic tinnitus or whatever it is. And that causes vertigo. I mean, could you imagine fighting like that, Dana White? But yet you're throwing all the shade on her. She'll never get a main event. He said that same thing about John Bones Jones at UFC 200. Well, here's John Bones Jones headlining again. John Bones Jones headlining it once again. Well, then again, that's one of the biggest stars. But people aren't giving Amanda Nunes credit. She saved UFC 200. She knocked out Miesha Tate in the first round. That was a great event. Amanda Nunes saved that event. And then she knocks off the biggest star, Ronda Rousey, the same way. Ronda Rousey is done. She's done. That was absolutely crazy. I was so upset at that moment. I was so excited that Ronda Rousey was back. You guys already know I'm a Ronda Rousey fan. I was excited that she was back, and then she gets stomped out like that. Swept from underneath us. And they're still not showing Amanda Nunes the love. I would be more excited about the rematch with Amanda versus Shevchenko than really DC. And I love DC. I mean, Mighty Mouse versus Ray Borg. I mean, that's an okay fight. Do I want to pay money for it? No. Not that I pay for my pay-per-views, but I'd be more excited to see the Amanda versus Shevchenko fight. Headline it with that. Doubt the same thing's going to happen twice. I doubt it. Let me know what you guys think on Twitter, Pure Evil MMA, and also on my personal Twitter account, which is where I'm mostly on, at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. So also in the news this week, Ariel Helwani was not allowed on the Showtime panel. Flew out there to New York, or to wherever it was, California. Where was the first one? The first presser, I believe it was in Anaheim, right? That was the first stop. Anaheim, then Toronto, then New York. I was at the New York one. The first one, Ariel Helwani was supposed to cover on Showtime, and somehow he got pulled off. I know there was a lot of people that were, already signed, but you have to show love to one of our biggest journalists in the sport. No love going out to Ariel Helwani. He speaks the truth. He could be biased, but he's the journalist. He gets the stories out there. He's getting the biggest interviews. He's a face of our sport. No shade on Brandon Schaub. He's a great entertainer. I love his show. He follows us here at Pure Evil MMA. But you got to have Ariel Helwani there. How awesome would that have been? Ariel Helwani and Brandon Schaub going back and forth. You have to have Ariel on the show. Brandon fit right in. It was perfect. He brought up a lot of great points. Told everyone how he thought it was going to go down. Everything we wanted to hear. They saved it. Brandon Schaub saved that Showtime. From him and Paulie. I mean, that magic going on there. There were people, my bank people were telling me, who you got? Mayweather and McGregor. Everyone. My mailman. Everyone's talking about this fight. Conor coming out the second night with the FU. They cut Conor's mic off. People are going nuts online. I mean, the story's there. It's built. I still don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Mayweather is a monster in there. He's a monster. He's on a whole new level. Conor definitely has a shot. In reality, though, I probably see... I see Mayweather obviously winning it in a decision, but I do believe there's going to be some great moments in this fight. I do believe Conor's going to hurt Mayweather. I mean, if he's dropped, remember, he gets 10 seconds. He gets 10 seconds to recover. Mayweather's hard to hit. I don't want to get too into it, guys. I'm sure you've heard so much, but I am rooting for Conor to win, of course. I want our sport to come out on top. I would love it if his legacy went that way. Went over to boxing, knocks out the number one GOAT over there pretty much. But then Floyd's coming off retirement, 2 years out. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I mean, a lot of you guys have been reacting to it. I loved the reactions when I was going live for MMA World. Well, I was at the Mayweather-McGregor presser. I love the reactions that we were getting in the live stream there. When Dougie Fresh came out, you guys were like, I'm going to straight kill myself. This is awful. And when Mayweather came out, you guys were like, he sounds like the straight up Yin Gang twins right now. Killing me. Absolutely killing me. Shout out to whoever was leaving those comments. Had a lot of fun there with you guys. Make sure you guys tune in. And I forgot to announce. Did I announce it on today's show? That I'm now the new face of MMA World. Me and Kerry Stellar are going to be doing shows on there every week. This week we got 10,000 live, or 9,000 people watching live. Last week we had 6,000 people watching live. Right now I believe it's up to 11 or 12,000 views for the show that we've been doing. So it's like a podcast, I guess. But it's Facebook Live. It's me and Kerry Stellar. And if you've been listening to Pure Evil MMA, some of our diehards out there, they know when I went to the World Series of Fighting in New York City on New Year's Eve, we did the podcast with Kerry Stellar and my cameraman, Frankie, who got absolutely baked that night, started pretty much tripping out on the podcast. That's definitely, like, when people ask me what have been my favorite podcast that I've done, that one stands out to me. That was a fun night. At the beginning of the podcast, some of you guys don't even know this, Frankie was getting his hair cut by Kerry. Kerry was cutting his hair on the other side of the microphone. That was a fun night. Yeah, definitely go check that out here on iTunes, Podbean. I don't think it's up on our YouTube page. If you're listening to this on YouTube, I have to apologize. Or you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I'll have to go double check that. But it's definitely here on iTunes. All you got to do is trek back about, that was New Year's, so about 20 episodes ago. We're on episode 46 here. So, yeah, that's definitely one that stands out. But me and Kerry be doing a podcast every week. That was such a big hit. Now, the past couple of weeks, we've been killing it over at MMA World. They're like, we want to make you two the face of MMA World. And they have 100,000 people that are already following them. So that's an honor for me. I'm privileged to have that opportunity. That's definitely helping getting, Pure Evil MMA and Evil Eddie out there for sure. and representing the East Coast. And speaking of the East Coast, guys, UFC Long Island going this weekend. Kyle Bochniak, I want to thank him for joining us earlier in the show. Great interview by him. We wish him the best of luck. He's going to be leading off the UFC Fight Pass prelims. So you do not want to miss out on that. It's going to be a very exciting fight. His opponent's a one tough SOB. So is Kyle. Crash. Alright, so Gegard Mousasi signs a 6-fight deal with Bellator. And he just gets matched up with Shlemenko. What? I did not see that coming. Did I see that coming? I mean, no, I did not see that coming. I really didn't. They've been building up that division. There's a lot of people that I would like to see him fight. As soon as you threw that in the mix, Rory McDonald comes to mind. The Red King. Well, I guess you don't want to have those two match up right away. I guess I understand that. But somewhere down the line, those two are going to be fighting for that title. Guarantee it. And then he even goes as far as saying once he gets that title, he wants to move up to 205 pounds and get that title. So I guess the UFC offered him a fight against Luke Rockhold for UFC 215, which we just announced a little while ago with Mighty Mouse and Amanda. But right before signing with Bellator, that's what they offered him. And they offered him a little more money than Bellator. But Gegard Mousasi was smart about this. If you really look at it, how much promoting does the UFC really do for him? They haven't even given him a freaking title shot yet. Look at the tear he's been on. Getting the rematch against Uriah Hall, the one mistake that he's really made in the past couple of fights. Taking out Chris Weidman, the former champion. He's just been squashing dudes lately. Well, you lost a huge star, and this is smart. Well, I look at this two ways. It's smart for this reason. It's smart because now you can get the sponsors. You can put them on your shorts. You're going to be making another $80,000 or more, at least. Here's the bad thing about signing with Bellator. I mean, I know they need their stars. They need star power. But how many cards does Bellator really put on in a year? Think about that. Compared to the UFC, how many more times a year is Gegard Mousasi really going to fight? Now, I kind of contradict myself here because Chael Sonnen, I believe, has already fought twice this year, and he just got signed. Rory McDonald just had his first fight. We'll probably see him fight again before the end of the year. But how many cards do they really have a year, and how are they going to squeeze the same guys over and over again on? Frank Mir possibly fighting Fedor. I love that fight. I saw that rumor going around. Frank Mir out of the UFC, possibly signing with Bellator, wants that fight. That's a perfect spot for Frank Mir, in my opinion. Bring him over to Bellator. Bellator is really laying down solid foundation this year. Like I said at the beginning of the year, this is going to be Bellator's year. And by 2018, Bellator is going to be not neck and neck, but they're going to be right there. And this is a reason why I didn't want them to have that pay-per-view. Because I felt if they had that card for free, it was a huge fight. They were doing a great job promoting already. It's on Spike TV. It's one of the biggest fights that people were talking about. Legends on there that some of the people that don't watch UFC anymore know. Or even they had so many great clips and a great build-up to it that even the younger generation could have got into it. It's on Spike TV. You're flicking through the channels. I remember that's how I got into it. When I was young, Ultimate Fighter came out. Forrest Griffin. I'll never forget that season of Ultimate Fighter. That's what really made me actually fall in love. Of course, I used to rent UFC from Blockbuster. I was like, what the hell is this? I honestly, when I first rented it, I had no idea what it was. I was always renting the WrestleManias and stuff like that. I ran out of those to buy. I didn't know what UFC was. I had no idea. You know, matter of fact, I did my first interview when I was 7 years old on air on KC101 here in Connecticut with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So it's kind of funny where I am now, interviewing fighters in the UFC 20 years later. I mean, it's just perfect. I always remember I wanted to be a wrestler named Razcat. That was my dream. I wanted to be a wrestler growing up. My name was Razcat. I had a sweet shirt. I made it out of like finger paint. I just have those beat up dolls just to wrestle them all the time. I'd get yelled at. Thought I was going to hurt myself, throwing myself around the living room with them. I was a little maniac. 20 years later, here I am. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, Gegard Mousasi, it's a great year. He's going to be making more money. They're going to be able to promote him a little more. They're going to look at him more as a star over at Bellator. So in the long run, this is a great sign for Gegard Mousasi. It just kind of sucks because I really wanted to see the rematch with Chris Weidman. That was lingering there. But Chris is going to be fighting this weekend in UFC Long Island. He's got a tough match against him, Kelvin Gastelum. Yeah, Gegard Mousasi was never even given a title shot in the UFC. I still can't believe it. He's definitely going to have a lot more perks here with Bellator, in my opinion. The Reebok has absolutely been disrespecting this sport. So many athletes are suffering because of Reebok, who doesn't even seem like they care at all about even sponsoring the UFC. Carrie was telling me that she went into Reebok and she couldn't even find UFC fight kits. Matter of fact, I had somebody tell me that they went online and they couldn't even find the UFC fight kits. They don't even have Chris Cyborg's name or for her UFC fight kit. What is going on? Actually, kind of funny story. When I was at the Mayweather-McGregor presser, saw someone wearing a fight kit. I was like, what fight kit are you wearing? Nate Diaz. The kid had the balls to wear Nate Diaz. When I tell you there were so many Conor fans, all you heard outside as people were pouring out, ole, ole, ole. I was jumping right into it. Paid $13 for a Heineken. So, I was into it. It felt like I was at a concert. And I definitely understand the hate there, but I'm sorry I'm jumping around all over the place, but there's a lot more perks over at Bellator for Gegard Mousasi. Reebok has just been killing all the athletes there. Hopefully that contract's running up soon. Alright, so this next segment, we have to announce our members of the week. Let's get into it, guys.
The Pure Evil MMA army is taking over, uniting fans, followers, MMA fighters and elite evil family contributors from all over the world. And this is a call to all MMA fans. Your opinions count and we want to hear from you. Use hashtag PureEvilMMA on Twitter or leave a comment on any video or article on the Facebook page or YouTube channel. Find your voice and come join the ranks of the Pure Evil MMA army. Like these soldiers of the week, ready to receive a shout-out salute from Evil Eddie himself.
Thank you, Minion. So this week's Soldiers of the Week is going out to Chillzone95 for showing love, sticking by my side through all of this, all these recent changes, and also have to give a shout out to our second Soldier of the Week, Yusuf. General Yusuf, also there helping out in the chat room on Twitter for all the Pure Evil Army to get together. Congratulations, guys. I'm giving you this week's shout out for Soldier of the Week. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us here at Pure Evil MMA. Alright, so coming up next, just found out I'm getting my credentials for Lion Fight 37, which is going to be coming to Foxwoods Casino in just a week here. And I got two opponents, back-to-back interviews with these two. Got them right here for you guys. This is going to be an exciting one. Big stars like Zarina Bars fight for Lion Fights, in case we have some new listeners here. This goes down on AXS TV. You got Pat Miletich. You got The Voice. It's going to be an exciting event, and we got one of the main card contenders here for the inaugural belt, Chip Pollard, also his opponent, the Reaper. So let's jump into Chip's interview here. All right, guys, I got an exciting guest for us here today on Pure Evil MMA. We spoke to him before, and we've been at his last couple of fights. We got Chip the Surgeon Pollard joining us. What's going on today, Chip?
What's happening, man?
Not much. You just told me that you're at the mall. What's going on at the mall today?
I'm a nerd, man, so on Wednesdays I have to come and grab my new comic books.
Oh, nice. What comic books are you into? I have a huge stack of them from when I was a kid still.
All right, yeah, I'm a Marvel guy, so I got a few every week that I have to come pick up.
So you're all the way out in Plymouth, Massachusetts right now. Did you grow up there your whole life?
Yeah, pretty much. I've been out here since I was a baby, and yeah, still kicking.
Yeah, we used to go on field trips out there to Plymouth Rock and all that. It used to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
But listen, man, last time we spoke, I actually talked to you and your trainer. I forgot her name, and excuse me. But
well, it wasn't her. It would have been either Mark Delagrati or Pat Schultz or Mark Massey, one of those guys.
Well, listen, you're at Cape Cod Fighting Alliance or Team Citadon. What's going on over there? Any other guys that we know fighting soon?
Tom, there's always a whole slew of guys that have fights coming up. This weekend, actually, we got we have Tony Martin in the UFC, and then we have my boy Andreas. He's fighting for No Boundary Muay Thai. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And a bunch of other guys. Sarah Click is also going to be on the No Boundary show. And I'm sure there's others I forget about.
Well, I've actually been at the last couple of your fights, man, and Lion Fights has been doing such a great job, but I'm so excited about this upcoming fight that you got. And we're going to be speaking to your opponent right after you. You're going to be fighting Bochniak, the Reaper. So it's the Surgeon versus the Reaper. What can everybody expect?
It's going to be a good fight. It's going to, two high-level guys, two high-level strikers. They're going to be going at it. He's going to be trying to take me out. I'm going to try to take him out. And then probably go get a beer afterwards because I'm cool with Paul. I like Paul. He's a good guy. But it should be a great fight.
Yeah, matter of fact, I brought my mom to your last fight. We were able to take a photo together. Yeah. And I love the after parties that they have, too, at, not Kid Inc. What's the bar that we go to afterwards?
Scorpion Bar.
The Scorpion Bar. So, yeah, everybody after the fight, if you're going to be attending Line Fights, make sure you join us at the Scorpion Bar. Have you been able to get a tattoo since you've been to the casino so many times now?
No, I have my people here in Plymouth that tattoo me. My boy Forrest from Cobra Customs. But I've been slack and I need to get back in there.
So without giving too much away, I mean, what have you been really trying to sharpen up in the gym?
Just everything, nothing in particular. I just try to be the best version of myself. I don't really worry about who happens to be on the other side of the ring. As long as I do my thing, then it should go well.
Do you like making predictions? Do you see this going to a decision? How do you see this playing out in your head?
I'm not really a prediction guy.
Yeah.
I never really know how it's going to go until I have the person in front of me. I like to kind of find your weaknesses and strengths and see what works, see what doesn't, and then by the time the fight's gone on a little bit, I can usually figure out most people. Obviously, I'll be looking for the finish. I got a finish last time, and I'd like to keep it going.
Well, this guy has been on so many of the same cards you have. I'm sure that you've at least talked to him before. Have you met Paul before?
He was only on the one card I was on last time, but me and him have actually trained together before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, over at Seattle. I think it was a couple years ago. So when I was still doing MMA, but we got a chance to spar together a couple times. So, yeah.
That's right. You actually you have a background in MMA. Are you just sticking with the Muay Thai now, or you can see a new Chip go back into MMA sometime soon?
No plans on that, but I guess never say never. You never know. But yeah, for a long time I wanted to get out of Muay Thai and get into kickboxing and Muay Thai. So now that it's finally happened, I've really kind of been proving what I've been saying all along that I do a lot better in that than I would in MMA.
So, man, before we let you go, I got to ask, what have you been up to this summer? I mean, the weather's been so nice the past couple of days. You're not that far away from me. What has this week been looking like? I know you got the upcoming fight, so can you kind of bring our listeners and your fans through what you've been up to this week?
Yeah, we're starting to kick the training into high gear a little bit, doing a lot of pad work with my boy Pat Schultz. Going to be heading up to Seattle tonight. And trying to get a little bit of beach days in just because the weather's been nice, but not as many as you'd like. But, yeah, just getting ready to roll.
Well, we're looking forward to it. What we like to do at this point in the interview is we hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any shout-outs, sponsors, anything at all you want to wish good luck to Paul, the floor is all yours now, Chip.
Yeah, me and Paul, he's a great guy. We're going to put on a hell of a show. Good luck to him. Shout-out to Prime Management. Hooking me up with all these nice fights. Everybody else that's going to be sponsoring me for this show, if you haven't jumped on board yet, now is the time. My girlfriend, Ashley, my mom, my family, everybody's going to come out, the whole town of Plymouth. Time to get it done.
Oh, was your girlfriend Ashley with you at your last fight?
Yeah, she was.
So I think that's who I met was your, because we were all standing outside that new place, Sugar. We're all standing outside Sugar.
Yeah, it must have been her.
What was it like, by the way? Because they just opened that up at the casino. Did you enjoy Sugar?
Yeah, they have some pretty crazy drinks over there, so it's a nice time after the fight to kind of get a little loosened up.
Well, we're looking forward to this upcoming fight that you got, Chip. We will see you there. Best of skill, and thank you for coming on Pure Evil MMA. All right, guys. So, as you know, I'm going to be announcing the second winner of our giveaway, since no one claimed the second Rick Glenn t-shirt. So if you're tuning in, listening for your name right now, and I hope you are the winner. Here's the review before I announce the username. They titled it Great MMA Podcast. If you are looking for a fun, positive, informative MMA podcast, this is the one for you. Evil Eddie works tirelessly to get the best interviews and give fighters a forum to express their views and thoughts. Plus, Eddie is very interactive with his viewers on Twitter. It's a must listen to. Whoever did that, I love you. And that went to Hillfigure 1914, giving us 5 stars. That's HILFIGER 1914. If this is you, you've won the giveaway. Make sure to tweet me on Twitter, and I will be sending you over the prize. So I asked everybody, what was the best event or fight of 2017? I was thinking today, when I woke up this morning, I was like, it's been a weird 2017. Last year, 2016, there were so many great fights to go through when we got to the end of the year show. And we're about halfway, a little over halfway through the year. And I was trying to think back, like, what fights really stick out this year? So I wanted to ask you guys, and I wrote a couple of them down here. There's actually a bunch of them that really, as I look back at some of the roster, some of the events that we had this year, a couple of fights stood out. But I wanted to ask you guys what you really thought about 2017 so far. There hasn't been really any standout fights, not really any standout events. There's been a couple of good cards, like in whole, but for the most part, nothing really sticks out. I mean, last year, UFC 205 was absolutely amazing. And we even did the recap of 2016, and I rewatched the Cody Nola versus Dominic Cruz fight, and I really think that was one of the best fights ever, especially for that division, without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind for the bantamweight division. So we're going to be reviewing a couple of the fights that really stood out to me this year. I got a couple of them written down. But the reason why I really brought this up was because the Justin Gaethje versus Johnson fight. Now, there's a lot of people who are saying that could be fight of the year. I thought it was definitely so far fight of the year. But why? Why has it been fight of the year? So I had to ask myself, what makes fight of the year? Well, going into it, not only the fight has to be exciting, but the build up to the fight has to be exciting. So World Series of Fighting, as they were, closing down, they had 3 champions come over to the UFC, which included David Branch, included Marlon Morales, protege of Frankie Edgar, and then of course Justin Gaethje, who trains alongside Josh Cullibert Copeland. He trains with a bunch of big guys, so to say. Out of all those 3 guys, I was like, wow, they're really matching them up at the top of the top. But Justin Gaethje, he was going in there, and I've got to see a couple of his fights live, especially at World Series of Fighting in New York City, New Year's Eve. He takes a lot of shots, and he just puts his head down and he comes forward. Of course, that's going to lead to an exciting fight, but I had to ask myself, he's coming to the UFC, he's going to be fighting with the big dogs. He needs to bring something to the table. So this worked for him, which is actually surprising. He came to the UFC and just goes, I want to get knocked out. Match me up with somebody that's going to knock me out. I've had 17 fights, 16, 17 fights so far. I've had 14 wins by knockout. It's time for me to go into the UFC. You guys are all saying that this is the C League over at World Series of Fighting. Matter of fact, when I interviewed Justin Gaethje last year around this time, I told him, I was like, dude, you're World Series of Fighting champion. There's a lot of organizations asking about you. You know, your contract could be up soon. You know, when are you thinking about moving up? And he looked at me and goes, what's moving up in MMA? He's like, I'm making a great paycheck here at World Series of Fighting. I'm getting paid as much as I think anyone else would really pay me. And this is what stood out, this sentence right here. Not all of the best talented fighters are in the UFC. You know, and I had a lot of people message me and be like, I don't know about that. You know, you usually see somebody whose contract rides out, they're on a 3-fight losing streak, they'll go over World Series of Fighting or Bellator. But Justin Gaethje, man, he really stood out with that sentence. And he proved himself when he got in there against Michael Johnson. Now, even Michael Johnson was saying, you were fighting over at the C League. You don't know what you're in for. You're fighting with the big dogs. Well, he came over and he put on a very exciting fight, and what made it exciting was how he went about it, how he kind of promoted it to the way of, knock me out. I want to get knocked out. And the fans absolutely go crazy for stuff like that. So there are some people out there like, what was so special about that fight? Well, the build-up was special about the fight. Not only that, Michael Johnson, he's a great athlete. He's a very technical fighter. He's been fighting some of the top-ranked guys for a while now, even though out of the last 5 fights, he's only won one at this point. But, you know, honestly, he proved a lot in that fight, saying that not all the best talent is in the UFC. So that's one of the fights definitely stood out. Of course, it's fresh in everyone's mind. So let's look back at some of the other exciting fights that have gone down so far this year. Honestly, another fight that was pretty recent, it wasn't that long ago, it was back in July. Showtime Pettis versus Miller. Versus Jim Miller. Jim Miller is a son of a bitch. And that's a tough division. Well, Showtime Pettis, we were all worried about him. He wasn't himself. He wasn't loose. He was going to match up a lot of wrestlers, just getting really smothered. Wasn't able to perform to his best. You know, he moved. But honestly, we got to see Showtime back in action and feeling it. So I was really excited about that fight. Not to mention, he had a fight where he submitted Oliveira off of his back. At that moment, you know, I was like, is he going to stay at this weight class? I didn't like it there. You know, the Max Holloway versus Pettis fight, Max Holloway beats him, gets the interim title, goes on to get the Jose Aldo fight, which I'm going to bring up in a second. But Showtime Pettis versus Miller, that was a very exciting fight to me. Let me know what you guys think about that. Of course, that was a unanimous decision, but just the way that Showtime was fighting there, going back to his roots, I was excited for that. So that's definitely a fight that stood out for me. Let me open up the chat room, see what's going on there. And then I cannot forget about Glover Teixeira going up against Alexander Gustafsson. Now, after Gustafsson fought John Jones Bones, there was a lot of people saying that was the best fight they ever seen. Well, Gustafsson, for a little while, he thought that he was going to retire. I'm happy that he didn't. He goes in there against Glover Teixeira, who's another tough guy who's been at the top for so long, fights and trains over here at over in Connecticut. But round after round, the uppercuts that Alexander Gustafsson was landing on Glover Teixeira was absolutely beautiful. These guys were going back and forth. And then to top it off, he asked his fiance to marry him. That's another fight that stood out to me this year. Another amazing knockout for for Alexander Gustafsson. Another stick-out fight, Derek Lewis versus Travis Brown. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are probably going to say this to me. Well, Travis Brown, he's on like a 5-fight losing streak right now, or 4-fight losing streak. So what's really that special about it? Well, in the first round, Derek Lewis was in a lot of trouble. Let's not forget, the kicks of Travis Brown were really doing damage. And there was one point in that fight where Derek Lewis was grabbing his gut. We thought it was all over for him. We were like, oh my God, Travis Brown is making a comeback. Travis Brown is back. Well, what happens? Derek Lewis makes an amazing comeback. He's hurt, he's beaten, but he's not giving up. He knows that he needs to get this win. He's been riding the ladder all the way up. There's been so many people doubting him. He has to get past Travis Brown, especially with all the shit that he was talking about Ronda Rousey, and also saying that he was taking this fight to back up anyone out there that beats women is just an absolute scumbag. So he really wanted to prove a point and put a beating on Travis Brown, which he did. So that's another standout fight to me that happened so far this year. There was a couple of fights with Derek Lewis that happened this year, but this next one I have to bring up, Mark Hunt versus Derek Lewis. Now, this did not go the right way for Derek Lewis. Matter of fact, he even said that he was thinking about retiring, which we later found out that isn't going to happen. Mark Hunt, man, he had some beef with the UFC. He had the past couple of fights were all matched up with former PED users, former people that used, steroids or whatever. They weren't testing clean. So he got the short end of the stick. He was complaining about it, especially the Brock Lesnar fight, which he's absolutely pissed about. And he spoke up about it. And there was one thing that really stood out about this fight. Could have been the last fight for Mark Hunt in the UFC if he lost against Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is going out, wiping everybody out at this moment. Well, he packs it down and he gets the win. I thought that was another amazing fight that we had so far this year. Let's not forget about the women here. Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Jessica Andrade. Another very exciting fight. It went the distance, but there was a couple of moments in that fight where Joanna Jędrzejczyk was rocked. She got in trouble and was able to weather the storm, ride it out, and use her Muay Thai to really stretch it out, get the unanimous win over Jessica Andrade. Before this fight, there was a lot of people that were rooting for Jessica, thought that Joanna's run was over. Ever since Jessica Andrade changed weight divisions, was just sweeping through her opponents. Another standout fight that she was in was against Angela Hill. Another great fight. Coming over from Invicta, Hill was making her debut, really needed a win in the UFC. She didn't have a win yet. This is her second time there. Well, she did a great job, but Jessica Andrade just looked like an absolute monster. And there was a couple of people that were worried about Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I knew that she was going to get this win. I knew it was probably going to go to decision, but Jessica Andrade, make no doubt about it. Every time this girl is matched up against anybody, it's an exciting fight. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next with her. This whole division is exciting. Who's going to dethrone Joanna Jędrzejczyk? Claudia Gadelha hasn't been able to do it. Are they really going to match her up again with her soon? I don't think so. What's going to be next? Well, of course, this past weekend, who did we just have fight? Oh, God. Oh, I'm drawing the biggest blank right now. Let me look back at my notes. Holy shit. Cynthia Calvillo going up against JoJo Calderwood. Now, I'm not saying that was one of the fights of the year, but match Calvillo up. She's definitely working her way up to the top. She's going to get that chance sometime soon. Maybe they're going to match up with Carla Esparza, maybe Tisha Torres. I don't know. But definitely plan on that girl giving us some more action here in 2017. I'm looking forward to it. Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Jessica Andrade. I had to put that down. What else do we got here? Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse submitting Wilson Hayes. I thought that was another very exciting fight. Something that you don't usually see. It just shows us that he is just such a dominating fighter. To submit a black belt. It was embarrassing for Hayes. But he got the win. He did it in an amazing fashion. What's next for him? Another fighter that doesn't get the credit that he really deserves. Fight that no one's really been talking about. And I can't wait for him to make his return. The Korean Zombie, who was away for a few years doing his service over in Korea. They had to, he had to take care of some business. But he was going up against Dennis Bermudez, who was going to be fighting this weekend at UFC Long Island. Not many people knew what to expect. Was he going to have cage rust? Dennis Bermudez, he's always bringing the fight. He's always ready. He's a very well-rounded fighter. How is he going to match up against the Korean Zombie? How is the Korean Zombie going to look against Dennis Bermudez? Well, he shocked the world that night, getting a beautiful knockout. I forget what it was. I think it was an uppercut or a left hook or a right hook. But he got the knockout. That was absolutely beautiful. I'm definitely putting that on my list. And as we get to the end, I'm going to give it top 5 fight of the year in 2017. And guys, there's a lot of people saying it hasn't been much of an exciting year. But as I look back and I was reminding myself of some of the fights that we've had, it hasn't been half bad. I mean, a lot of the talk so far really has been McGregor versus Mayweather. So I do understand that. Not much really going on in the chat room here. Then we had Overeem versus Mark Hunt. I thought that was another exciting fight. What else do we got in here? Valentina Shevchenko making her title run once again, but she had to get past Juliana Pena. Now, there was some beef going on before this, which is another reason why this is an exciting fight, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Before this, Juliana Pena was showing no credit, really undermining Valentina Shevchenko, saying, "Who is that? She doesn't deserve a fight with me," even though Valentina was ranked higher than her. Juliana Pena, she wanted Ronda Rousey. She wanted the top dogs. Well, Valentina Shevchenko, I think she was coming off the beautiful win over Holly Holm. I was excited. I was at the edge of my seat. You know, Valentina Shevchenko, ever since she had that loss last year against Amanda Nunes, and it's a shame that fight hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen soon. Going into that fight, there was a lot of people that were nervous. You know, they didn't know what was going to really happen. Who would have expected Valentina Shevchenko to submit Juliana Pena? Valentina was in trouble. She was on her back. Juliana was right on top of her, and she gets the submission. Another standout fight. Shogun Rua versus John Vellante. Had to mention that one. Shogun Rua having a rough year. Rough past couple of years. You know, you could say he's not what he used to be. You know, at one point in time, he was one of the most dangerous men on the planet, in my opinion, fighting out of Brazil. But that fight, he really gave it his all, really pushed forward, and the crowd behind him, just the energy there, really made for a great fight. That was all the way back in March. That's another standout fight. Shout out to John Vellante, who's going to be fighting this weekend. Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin the Diamond. Now, this fight ended, unfortunately, with an illegal knee from Eddie Alvarez, but this is a fight that I have to see before 2017 is over. It was one of the most exciting fights I've seen so far this year. Back and forth, Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin Diamond. It doesn't get better than that, but there was breaking news this week that Ultimate Fighter Season 26 is going to be coached by Eddie Alvarez and the man we talked about at the beginning of the show, Justin Gaethje. Now, is that a good idea? You know, Justin Gaethje is in the limelight right now. He put on what could probably be called the best fight of 2017 so far. So why should we have to wait 6 more months to see him fight again? Well, match him up against Eddie Alvarez. Yeah, it's an exciting fight. I really wish they just ran it back to Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin the Diamond fight. That's what we wanted to see. You know, it's a great idea, Tough 26, to have those two guys coaching, but they're not even that big of names. Who's going to really tune in for that? The Ultimate Fighter's been having not the best of luck. I mean, it's a staple in our sport, but right now, you need some superstars to be coaching that fight. I don't know. It's going to be an exciting fight. I don't know how the coaching is going to go. I don't know. That's going to be an exciting fight. I'm looking forward to it, but come on. Eddie Alvarez versus Dustin Diamond. Run that one back. That is definitely one of the standout fights so far this year. Some of you guys might get mad at this next one. Cub Swanson versus Artem Lobov. Now, you might ask me, why am I putting that on here? Artem shouldn't have even been in that fight. Well, Cub Swanson really made a great turnaround ever since he had that loss to Max Holloway. He's making his climb all the way back to the top. I'll never forget his WEC days. One of the most exciting fighters, in my opinion. Fortunately, last time he fought Jose Aldo, flying knee ended in about 7 seconds. You guys can go on YouTube, watch that fight again. But every time Cub Swanson's in there, you get nervous because he does this weird stuff where he takes shots and he eats shots, but somehow he's always coming back. He definitely got 2016's Fight of the Year, in my opinion, against the Korean Superboy. But I had to put that on the list. That fight was back in April. Another exciting fight. So mentioning that weight division, it wouldn't be right if I didn't mention Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo. Now, there was a lot of people looking at Jose Aldo, judging him from that Conor McGregor fight, which really isn't fair because that fight ended in 13 seconds. You really can't judge anything. If you look at Jose Aldo's career in whole, he's a legend. He's an absolute legend in the featherweight division, the only champion the featherweight division ever had in the UFC up until that fight with Conor McGregor. Even after that fight, he had a great performance against Frankie Edgar, who was on an amazing win streak himself, knocking out Chad Mendes in the first round International Fight Week 2016. Or was that 2015? It completely blows my mind. But Jose Aldo, he was doing great in the first and second round, but Max Holloway was able to taunt him, get him to play his game. Max Holloway gets the win. Another very exciting fight. The young gun gets the win. He's on a 10-fight win streak, and he takes out a legend like Jose Aldo. It wouldn't be right if we didn't mention that in our 2017 top fight of the year. Now, here's one that some of you guys might have forgotten about, and he's fighting this weekend. Elkins versus Mirsad Bektic. This is definitely comeback of the year so far, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. He's going to be fighting this weekend. This guy, You know, if you have a conversation with him, you're like, oh my God, how many times did he get hit in the head? But he's an absolute warrior. He's always pushing the pace, always coming forward. When you think it's all over, he gets up and he finishes the fight. Well, in that fight, definitely comeback of the year in my opinion. He was getting absolutely mauled in the first and second. I have no idea how he even made it out of the second round. But in the third round, he just kept going at it, bit down, pushed forward, got a nice head kick, and then finished it with a TKO, taking out Mirsad Bektic. Absolutely shocking the crowd. One of the best fights so far, or comebacks in my opinion, this year, despite the damage tattoo that he's got. I mean, I think that's pretty silly, but he does take a lot of damage in his fights, and he's always putting on an exciting fight. This is a guy that was going to retire as well, proving that you should never give up on your dreams. Even when times are getting hard, never give up, never tap out. And when you do tap out, you can always step back in the ring. Oscar, stop to Z. So guys, I want to know, what did you think? What was your fight of the year? I'm going to rank it right now. Top 5. From 5 to number 1. No, another one I forgot to mention. Ali Quinta making his return. I'm putting that on number 5. Ali Quinta taking out the one and only Lionheart. I mean, I don't even feel right calling him the Lionheart. I really don't. Oscar, stop to Z, brother. But when he took out Sanchez, that was a great fight. Stop it, bro. Chill out. That was a great fight. That's getting 5 for me. Number 4, Glover Teixeira versus Alexander Gustafsson. Number 3, the Korean Zombie versus Dennis Bermudez. Number 2, I'm giving that one to Derek Lewis versus Travis Brown. Great comeback there. But my number 1 fight so far this year, without a doubt, and I know it's fresh in a lot of people's minds, but this is what's been really sticking out, and I guarantee it will stick out as we get towards the end of 2017. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Johnson. That's it, guys. UFC 2017 Fight of the Year. Justin Gaethje's taking the cake, in my opinion, making a great debut, possibly one of the best debuts in UFC history. What did you guys think about it? Let me know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. I mean, so many great fights. Even some that we didn't even mention here. Vitor Belfort versus Kelvin Gastelum. He's going to be fighting this weekend against Chris Weidman, who could be on a 4-fight losing streak after this. Can't have that. It's going to be in his own backyard. If Kelvin Gastelum can get past that, I mean, there's no stopping him. There's no stopping that kid. Robert Whittaker. We didn't even mention Robert Whittaker yet. He's had some great fights this year against Derek Brunson. His last fight that he just had against Yoel Romero. Not really a standout fight, but an exciting one nonetheless. Rumble Johnson versus DC. Another one that we didn't mention here. Rumble retires. That's another thing that stands out about that fight. DC defends the title once again. It has been an okay year. I mean, as we look back, and I hope I can excite you guys now. Like, we did have a pretty exciting year. I mean, it all started with the BJ Penn versus Yair Rodriguez. I mean, that's what really started this whole thing off. Juliana Pena versus Valentina Shevchenko starting the year off. I mean, come on. And the way that 2016 ended, Ronda Rousey getting TKO'd in 48 seconds. I believe 48 seconds by Amanda Nunes. Come on. 2017 hasn't been as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be. I hope this refreshed everybody's minds. Let me know what you think. What's your top 5 fight of the year? Let me know on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA, and also on my personal page at Evil_Echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Make sure you guys subscribe down below here on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, wherever you're watching this, here on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, MMA World, and FrontProofMedia.com, and of course, MMA UK. Have a great night, and behave yourselves.